was, he said, well, I think Jim really does earn his split. Okay, because of all the support that he gives us. I mean, just the marketing, you know, SOI emails that we was talking about, that is so valuable. If you haven't done it, please take time to do it on Foundation Friday.
On Foundational Friday.
Thank you, Jim.
So from all the way from Wilt Manors, our own, is it appropriate to say the Queen of Wilt Manor?
Yeah, you can.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. Well, she's
Lots of
Amy's
queens of
queen.
Wilt Manors.
Oh, right.
The biological queen.
The biological queen.
There you go.
This is one of the most special, our company is filled, Paula, with special people. And this is just another one of our special people.
Thank
You
you,
are
Jim.
such a blessing.
Thank you,
are
Jim.
such a blessing. Let's welcome Wilt Manor's superstar, Adrienne Foland.
Thank you. So, you all are out there making your sphere calls. You're out there walking the neighborhoods. You're doing your prospecting. You're hanging on doors. Then you get a listing appointment, and you get that listing, and you're so excited. Oh my God, I got this listing. Then you order the photography. Then you upload it into the MLS, and it's so exciting. Then you start to get a few little showings, okay? And then kind of the weeks go by, and nothing, happening, or something's happening. And then the seller wants to know, what are you doing, right? Then that icky feeling comes like, oh my God, what am I doing to sell this fellow's home? And remember, you may have a couple of listings or a couple of buyers. You're carrying a bag of inventory, but that seller only has one house. So they got to feel the love from you, okay? So this presentation is just what I do to prepare for my 30-day market review, my 30-day seller review. And I gave you a bunch of dead trees here. This I printed out screen by screen, because I'm going to go through it up here, but you're not going to be able to follow it. And as adults, we have to do it ourselves. So I actually printed out each screen to show you what you do, so that in 2 weeks or 2 months, when you do get that listing, you have to do that seller review. Maybe you'll use some of these little tools that I do. So this first one is, I'm going to talk about how I generate this report, which is the single family home report for Broward County. Now, I didn't do this in the Fort Lauderdale office, but I thought everybody knew how to do it. So I thought, you know what, I should not make that assumption. I'm going to show you how to get to this report, and then I'm going to talk to you how I use it. So the first thing, this is from MLS. So I go onto my matrix, I log on, and then you scroll down, and you see the first page you hit here, Florida Realtors. Okay, it might have me log back in. I was out for a while. There's a couple of different ways you can get to this Florida Realtor report. Everybody can do it. This is just the easiest way that I do it.
It's processing.
Just let it do its thing.
It's very slow right now.
There we go.
Okay, so go to the next page, and then you see over here, you're going to click on this thing called Research and Statistics. That pulls down another menu. And then you see here, I said select Florida market reports. You see that? You click on that. Go to the next page. Here's my Florida market report. Just thinking.
She clicked here on the Florida market report, and then you're going to come to this.
There it is.
So you're going to get your report.
And then it pulls up this selection, and I'm going to show you which ones I select on each one of these report sites that I'm on. So this one, I go down here, scroll down to county reports, members only, right? The first thing you're going to do is you're going to select the month. Okay, the most recent month we have, I think the stats for is September. I want single family homes. You can do condos if you want. I do single family. Now you don't do detail, you do summary. You see? And then over here you gotta I hit Broward, right? And I've got that all written on this paper here, 1, 2, 3, what you do.
Good
Then you
job.
click,
Step by step.
is this
Thank you.
helpful for us?
Yeah.
students?
100%.
Yes.
Then you click view, and then it downloads it over here, you see? So then when you click on that download, and what I do each month, just as a little tip, I go in there and I print out one copy, this blank copy, and I keep it in a little, at my desk. Every time I go on a listing appointment, I actually make a copy of that and I make my notes on here. I do like a homework, I'm correcting the homework, right? I take a green pen or a red pen or a blue pen, and I say, I start to compare, and when I sit with my seller, whether it's the listing report, or the, keep going, next page. Even if it's a listing presentation, or it's my 1 month review, or my 2 month review, or however often you want to do it, I start with this macro view. So I start at the macro level, I say, let's review the market, and then we're gonna drill down. So I talk about, look how many closed sales. We've had more closed sales last year to this year. Well, remember, we had Irma last year in September. So this data is a little bit skewed. And you'll see that when you talk about, we have pending sales of 46%. Oh my God, there's so many more buyers than last year. Not really, because we had Irma. So buyers weren't buying. We were 2 weeks out of hurricane because of a hurricane. And there's more sellers. So but what you do is you want to mark this up to tell the story of the market. Because some people gloss over when they see numbers and graphs. Not me. I'm analytical. I like to dig into it. So I help the seller understand what's going on. Look at this this little bump. We get a bump every year. The closing starts March, April, May, June, July, and then we get to this summer slump. And then we get a bump every year in December. Why is that? Homestead. People want to be in for the homestead. So you talk about that, but otherwise we're in a trough here. So you got to present to your sellers. If you're taking a listing in June, you got to tell them, hey, listen, we're heading into the trough. Okay. Not that we don't sell homes. We sell homes all year long. Okay. But there's fewer buyers in the market. Then I say, look at the values. Everybody says we're in a big bubble. Not really. We've had stable, solid growth of sales prices. Okay. Then this is the inventory chart. This inventory is kind of stable, but it's maybe climbing just a little bit. So there's more sellers than buyers. So this is the first report that I give them. Okay, talk about the macro. Now, let's go to my next.
Can I interject one thing?
Yes, questions are good. Yes.
This report also is for condos.
Yes.
In other words, this is the one she printed was single family. So if you're going on appointment single family detached, you use this. If you're going on condo, same exact thing. Just click on the condos.
Yes. Questions are good. Comments are good. Okay.
I think it's valuable to print out the detailed report as well. And because the detailed report will tell you the inventory by price range.
Yes.
250 to 300, 300 to 400, 400 to 500 and such. So you can look at this, you can segment the market. So you can see over $1 million, there might be 22 months worth of inventory.
Right. That's very helpful depending on where you are in your market price range. Okay, the next one we're going to go to is List Hub. This is another benefit that Jim has for us. This is our syndicator. When you're on a listing presentation and you talk about how once we take your listing, we put it in the MLS, then we syndicate it out. We blast it out to all these hundreds of web portals. So you tell them that in the listing presentation, and then they forget about it. So this answers the question, where are you putting my listing? How much exposure is my listing getting? So you don't have to do anything. I did this in Fort Lauderdale last week, and people are like, well, do I have to put my listings up there? No, they're already loaded. You just need to create your logon and get in there. So here's your first page. You just hit the login, and then I'm gonna log in. And then when you log in, it takes you over here to this summary report of all your listings, your searches, your views. Okay, that's all nice. Okay, that's interesting. Interesting here Look how many listings views Zillow has in Realtor.com. You're gonna see, I don't even log on to Realtor.com anymore. I log on to List Hub because List Hub has all the websites, all the data, okay? And Zillow has taken over Realtor.com. So that's just a curiosity. I don't discuss that with the sellers, but what I just, for our information, what I see here, and then it's got all my listings here. But what you do is you see this little this inventory up here. See at the top of that page, you click on that inventory, okay? This is two. If I click on that inventory thing, and then it brings all your listings up, all the listings that you have, okay?
Did you know that?
Go to that report, and what you do then, you can look at any listing you want. I'm gonna pick this one. Where's that one I'm gonna pick here? I'm gonna pick this one, and you can pick property page, seller report. You can play around with these. I pick, and I circled here, seller report, okay? So when you pick that seller report, go to the next page. It comes up with this, how your property is performing and all these things, interesting statistics, where the listing was sent to. Look at all those websites. That's great for the seller. Then it tells you who's been clicking. Zillow, Homes, Mash Advisor, all these different websites, okay? Now, you've got market reports over here on this side. You can play with them and look at them. I like this one, List View, okay? And you see I circled it here for you guys. I print on that one. I like that one. I look at it, and why do I like this one? Well,
Oh, wow.
it's got some additional information here, which is top cities. Look at that. Those were the clicks. These are all the people that have been clicking on this listing. So you can show this to the seller, and I do a screen print here. I show this to the seller. It's got all their data here, how many people viewed it. You can see this number is higher than my printout. This printout was done a couple weeks ago, last week, and where they're viewing it, on what websites, okay? And also what websites it's been syndicated out to. And then the top cities of people that are clicking to view that. That's really interesting information. So this tells you that you're showing the seller the exposure that you're giving their listing all over the different websites, in what areas locals are looking for this house, etc.
So the
Okay.
detail views are coming locally.
Yeah.
While 6,800 people saw it, these are the people
top
that
cities.
drilled in and looked at the detail
No, all
report.
these looked at the detail.
Uh-huh,
All
yeah.
these though are the top cities
Cities, right.
that clicked on the detail views.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
all these are detail views.
Oh, you're right. I see that.
All of these are detail views.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
again, if you're thinking about getting a price reduction, you can say, these are all the eyeballs. We had people, start their search on the internet. And so you want to have eyeballs, whether it's in person or online. Of course, they start online. So you start with this. All these people actually clicked and looked at your listing. Okay? That's List Hub. I think that's most powerful. So what have we done so far? We went and we saw what the market's doing. Then we saw what the website exposure is doing. Okay. Now we're going to go back and we're going to drill down into the MLS.
Adrienne,
Yes.
this report you can send out, you can have it sent out once a month or every other week or whatever you want. I have it sent out every Wednesday morning to my sellers.
There you go.
Automatically.
Yeah. And if you want, you can send it to yourself if you want to see it first and then send it on.
Yeah.
So
you
you're
can send
prepared
it.
for the call.
You can
out.
send it to people. I like to sit down with my people and talk to them about it because I don't know if they're opening it up. I don't know if they're interpreting it. Yes, Gene.
Do we have that generic Valley password, the 12334, or do we need to sign on and register? And create
You
our
just
own?
sign on yourself. You just
Okay.
create your own account in that very first page. And we all have access. All your listings are going to be there. We had this training a few years ago when we originally had it, but if you weren't here, you didn't know about it, or you didn't do it, or you didn't, now you can do it easily. Now, the next thing, I'm going to go back to my MLS and I'm going to go into my matrix. Okay?
And those folks that use Flex, you'll just have to
figure it out.
I mean,
I don't
use the
know.
same
Okay.
methodology.
Does Flex have a my hit counter?
I believe it does, yes.
Okay, so when you're on your regular, your main page here, there's something down here called My Hit Counter. You click that, and you see on this, I showed you where that is. You just click on there, and now I'm on page 2 of whatever that is, and you see this page here, okay? This big page here. These are all my listings, and what I say is, this is my back end X-ray vision view of the MLS, okay? So this shows me, let me just pick this one again. When you pick that, and then if you select print, where's my bottom print, thank you. And then you just hit, you just make sure that you are my hit counter, and when you hit the print, make sure you're on landscape, okay? I set it up for landscape, and then you can print this out. Okay, so when you print this out, I'm gonna go back to the main screen because I want to hover over something here.
Back to list.
Yeah, here. Okay, so when you print that out in landscape, then what you're gonna do is you're gonna actually write all of that. You're gonna hover over here, and what is this telling you? This is telling you, when you see client portals, you're gonna write the number of portals your listing has reached by direct or auto email. You're gonna make an arrow and go down there to that column, you see? And you're gonna say, wow, look at that, 257, your listing has reached 250. Now, what does that mean? What your gobbledygook, what is this, language you're saying? Well, you have to explain to the seller that the buyer's agents, and sometimes the consumer themselves, they can go onto the MLS and they can set up a search. And when they set up a search, they create a portal where they view the listings. This is from the consumer side. So they have a portal where when they get new listings, they get a new alert that something new hit the market. Boom, they get an email, they click on it, it goes to their portal. So the portal is the presentation of the listings. So 257 times your listing was sent by direct email, like the agent sent them that buyer your listing, or by an auto email search that the agent had set up. Wow, that's really interesting. What's this next one? Client views. Just hover over it.
Wow.
It'll say the total number of full display views by the consumer in their portals. Wow, why is that number higher than that number? Because they clicked on it more than one time. They keep looking at that listing, okay? Sometimes that number is smaller. Why is that number smaller than the first number? Because they're deleting the emails. They don't care. Gone, gone, gone. Look, okay, look at this one. Look at that one, okay? Look at that one. That one has less client views than portal views. That means the email sent out, but then people are just deleting them. Only 76 of the 104 opened it, okay? Very interesting. Client favorites, presently dealing client favorites, client possibilities, okay, fine. That's where the client can select it in the portal. I don't really pay much attention to that. But then I also look at this one, the number of auto email searches presently matching your listing. And this is recalculated nightly. Okay, so this is the total number of emails, 3-2 pool home. There's 281 searches out there for a 3-2 pool home that this house could qualify for, but it's only being sent out 257 times, or for whatever reason, okay? And you can see over here, agent published, that means the agent pushed it out, or agent rejected. That means the agent previewed it and said, no, this isn't gonna work for my people. The master's on the front of the house. They delete it, they don't send it on, okay? So this is the data from the MLS. So this is very powerful. It shows you what data, how often in the searches that the buyers are seeing through their direct email or through the agent setting up a search. Okay, so you print that one out and you just write this like this, just like that. You speak to it. Okay, Just copy the words. Now, let's go to the next report is the showing time report. So what have we done now? We went to, yeah,
I'll ask a quick question.
yes, please.
If you have, I mean, I think sitting here with your seller is the best thing to explain this to them. But if you have an out-of-state seller,
What I do,
do you just send it to them and then try to walk them through it on the phone?
yeah, I print them out in color and I scan it to them. And then I set up an appointment and I go through it one page by one page. You're really gonna be getting, the first page is a market chart. The second page is the list hub report. The third page is this hit counter report. And that's why I write those column descriptions on there because they can't hover over the print. So I write it out there so they can understand it, but you have to explain what is a portal. You know, you have to explain the consumer side of the search experience, okay? Yes, Ruth?
Do you ever use the reverse prospecting?
You know, I do use reverse prospecting, but I don't go into that with the seller, at least not in the beginning. I had a house that was a 3-2 home and it didn't have a pool, but I had a pool company come out and provided a survey. And the pool company actually did a beautiful rendering for me of where the pool would be. So I had like 200 showings of the house. No, not 200, 200 of those, you know, emails that sent out. And so I uploaded two new photos of the renderings. But all the agents that had shown it don't know that it's there unless I do a price change or something. So that's when I went into reverse prospecting and I sent every agent a personalized email with the attached photos of the pool. And it took me all afternoon, copy, but I did it person by person by person, and agents would email me back, oh, thank you, really cool, well, maybe we'll go back again. So, you know, I did it like that. I don't really go into reverse prospecting until I have to, like a couple of months down the road, you know, when I'm stuck for something. Okay, the next report is the showing time report. So now we've seen all the searches that they've looked at, but now some agents have gone in and made showing requests and have shown the home, right? So showing time has reports. So I go over here, this is the front of the MLS, the page, the front page again, and I come down here and I click on showing time, okay? You see that right there? Showing time. And then it comes up with your home page on the showing time system, okay? And then what I do is I click over here where it says reports. You see that? Click on reports. And then it pulls up this page. And then I click over here where it says listing activity reports. Okay. Then it's got all of these different listings, and this is just the activity report of all the showing appointments. And so it's kind of like, you know, mumbled up with different properties. So what you do then is you go over, okay, this is all my listings, right? So then you pick the listing you want. I'm going to pick this one again. We're on that same one. You just hover over it. You just click it.
Yeah.
And then it comes up to this report. Okay. So you can see when you set up showing time, set up your showing time. I always put a picture of the house in there because it helps me remember which house it is. You go to showing time. Okay, then you see this paper here. I said on the left side of the screen, you can email or print the report for the seller. So we're talking about over here, print or email the report. Okay, but why do I like this report? Let's see what's happening. Number of appointments in the last 30 days. Okay, but scroll down to the bottom. Okay. It starts from the bottom up. New listing. Okay, status change active. Then it starts all of my showings. And who it was. I am not afraid to show the seller these other agents and their companies. Why? Because it shows how I'm working with all these other companies to help them get the broadest exposure across all companies for their listing.
That's what they hire you to do.
That's what they hire me to do, work with everybody else. Then you see here, boom, I had a price reduction. keep going, boom. It took it off the market, whatever, guy went away, come back, price change, more listings, more showings, boom, 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 all the way up here. Somebody wrote a thank you there. Okay, but then when you get to the top, you'll see all the comments. Okay, look at these comments. Nice property, just a little small. Too choppy, needs a lot of work. Great neighborhood, but it felt needs too much work. Interesting house, still looking. Blah, they needs a good cleaning.
I like that
Blah,
one.
blah, 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 blah. I'm not telling the seller this. These people are telling the seller that. Sorry, not a good fit. Those people are telling the seller. I'm not telling the seller, but they're seeing it, right?
Yeah.
So that's really good. So I print that out and I send that to the seller, or you can email that. And they see the whole history of all the showings. Now,
Adrienne,
yes, Jim.
to properly set up your listing and showing time, what are the elements that should be done? You said picture for one.
Picture, and you want to put your shackle when you upload your listing, and then you put in all your photos and it says manage. Do you want to set up showing time? You click on that showing time, and then you put your photo in there. I always like to upload a photo so I know which one it is. It's nice, visual, and then you can put a shackle code. So I have a little inventory booklet of all my shackle codes and what listing they're assigned to.
It's the lockbox number.
The lockbox number, yeah. And then I also do that when we go to Supra. You can upload to Supra, you can upload a photo, and you assign the Supra to, I do them both. And we're gonna do that next. So this one has shown you all the showings that have been requested, your price changes, and feedback from those agents, okay? So remember, now you have all the clicks from the back end of the hit counter. Now you've got the showing time report. Now, sometimes it happens when you have an agent who just drives by and they have somebody in their car and they want to see it. And you tell them to go on showing time, but they don't. And they go to the house anyway, and that's okay because they called you and they get into the house and they show it. So the next report that I go to is the Supra E-Key, okay? So you might say, well, that's redundant because everybody made a showing, goes to see it. Well, not exactly. Sometimes you have more showings on the E-Key, on the Supra Shackle, than you have on the showing time report, because it's pretty typical. And also, let me go to Supra E-Key. Also, this also shows like when I went to the house to do a house check, when another agent or me or somebody goes for a broker's open or for a weekend open house. Okay, so this
the URL is supraekey.com.
Yeah, there it is. It's right up on here. Supra. Pardon?
Can't you get there from the Matrix front page?
You might be able to. I go this way. There's probably other ways to skin the cat. I think that's, but I go this way, and then I click on here, okay? And I'm a freak about my Supra Shackle boxes. I have a little notebook. I have one page for each one. I keep where it is. When we had that big change out, I printed out all my reports before I changed them out on my active listing, so I wouldn't lose any data. You can call me and ask questions if you want. I mean, I'm a freak about that. Organize. Yes, Chris.
I heard that there was going to be another exchange day sometime in November.
Yes.
Super, is that
There is
true?
now, it's open now.
It's this week.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
okay.
have to set up an appointment, but yeah, we have another one for that this week.
That's good. That's good. And let me tell you something. Go into Supra and print out all your reports on your active lock boxes before you change them out, because you won't be able to go back and get that. Okay? So that's what I do, and I just kept it in each folder. Okay, so now I sign on to Supra E-Key. Okay, now here you go. Okay. You can see there, I'm on the page 3 of 7. Okay, here, now this just shows you all the Supras. They've been accessed. It's just chronological. So what you're going to do is you're going to click up here on reports. Okay. And then this is gonna take you to a little selection, and I'm gonna click create a showing report.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you click on that. And now you have this menu. So I don't wanna do all my listings, you can do, specific box. I'm gonna do I like to do a specific
No.
MLS, what's that?
We're just asking start.
This
Oh.
is very good.
Very good, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Adrienne, do you do this yourself, or do you have somebody that inputs a
I
lot of
do
this?
it myself,
Yeah.
Now, Adrienne,
I do
you
it.
put in a specific MLS here.
Yeah.
For that lockbox.
No, this lockbox, you could pull a lockbox, but if you pull the lockbox, then if you had it on another listing, it's gonna pull all that other stuff.
No, well, yeah, and my question is, when you go to put it in, it says, what are you doing? You put it on a new listing, it says, okay, give me the MLS or give me the address. To tie it to that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So if you put in the address, where do you put that? In other words,
There's no, it doesn't
Okay, but
specifically.
you know what? This is how to do, what I'll do is I'll go back. This is how to do the report. So
Okay.
I'll go back to the, adding it in a
no, I
minute.
understand that, but I mean, when you do the report.
Yeah.
Like right now, I want to pull a report on this. If I put the address in, it's not going to recognize.
Where are you
No.
putting the address?
Yeah.
There's no
There's
No, I get that. When you go and put the lockbox on
Yes.
the door, it'll say,
Yes.
what are you doing? It'll say, I'm adding it to a listing. It'll say, okay, is it,
Oh, you mean the little, the.
Yeah, when you gotta punch
Yeah,
it in?
yeah, I don't know what it's doing. I mean, I put the address in and
That goes in
it,
the
and it
MLS.
doesn't match it up, so I always come back to this system. Okay, let me just go right here.
So how do you, the question is how do you tie the lockbox
There
to
you
the
go.
listing?
Okay, so let's go back.
You gotta go back to the bottom.
Right there.
Is it in the MLS or is it here?
No, I do it right here. Okay, so I log on to my eCam and I have a
Okay.
new listing. And it says, okay, it doesn't really tell you here, so you can say add a lockbox.
How to keep.
I'm not really adding a lockbox,
No.
but I'm
You got
going to
lock.
my lock boxes. Okay? When you go to your lock boxes, it gives you all my lock boxes. And if you hover here, you'll see that I've identified, each listing. So I find my shackle, okay?
Uh-huh, so you know what shackles on the
I have all my
property.
inventory of my shackles,
Mhm.
my boxes. I click this one, it's assigned. It comes up here. I can do this in another little class, but just to show you listing details. And then you put in the MLS,
That's where you at.
and when you put in the MLS, you can hit assign.
got it.
But I'm telling you, you have to put in the MLS and you have to put in the address too. And once it'll go further on to put your, and then make sure you click down here. When you click down here, you put in your email address and it sends you every time they hit the lockbox. Right? Every time somebody, and this is what I show them in my listing appointment. I'll say, we'll put on the lockbox, and then they have to go in and make an appointment, and then make an appointment. And then when they get to the house, they have this app, they go through it, a lot of security. And then it sends me an email. I take my phone, I show them, look, I just got an email here. So-and-so was just at this house. This is their license number. This is their phone number. This is their email address. This is their company name. And I see, oh yeah, John Jones just entered at 123 Main Street at 2:05. Yeah, their appointment was at 2:00. So then I have a control of who's there. I can watch it and who knows who's there. And then it gets registered here. So we can talk about the Supra connection later. But back to the reports, right? Create your showing report. I want to show you what this report looks like.
It's basically just getting your listing set up correctly in the beginning. Once you do it,
It's another step after you upload the photos, then you set up your showing time, and you set up your shackle, right? You just make it all together. You set the bait, I'm like setting the bait for my new listing. So you put in the MLS number, right? Then you have to put in the start date, which you know from your, you see here, I'm on this page here, which is almost the last page of your thing. You put in the start date. I think I put here May 1st, but I can't do a May 1st because it's over 60 days, so I'll do a May 8th or something, May 8th. Okay, within 6 months. Okay, so
Probably gonna have to go to June.
maybe to June because this listing has been on a long time.
Yeah.
And I just got an offer last night.
Praise
Hallelujah.
God.
Okay, now it says here, include agent showing contact, yes. Include feedback, yes.
Yes.
View the results. Okay, so then you can hit a create report here. Okay, and this report comes down here, and again, start from the bottom. Look here, 1 of 3 pages. So what I do is, it says 20, I've had 25. So I just click on the highest. And then when I print it out or email it, it comes in a big long stream. Okay, now look here, Rosie Shade. You're gonna see her name on here. Okay, so this listing started in May. Where is the rest of my data? It's on the old lockbox. Here's a perfect example. So I have that in the folder, and I can add that to this, but now we're starting here August 26th. Okay, so Rosie did an open house. So what I would do is I would print this out. I like to print it out because then I take a red pen and I say, open house. That was a Saturday, you know? And then I go up here, Adrienne Foland, house check. I did a house check because there was like a, mail had to go in or whatever. So they see that when I'm there, right? A house check, or if I had it, or if I showed it, I'd show it. Then you can see here all the agents that are showing it. Rosie, open house, right?
That's important.
Me, another house check. So this is more showings than show up on showing time. Okay, look at this guy. He showed it first with the one partner. This was Saturday. Then they came back with the other partner on Sunday. So we see here 2 showings, and then this morning we get an offer. Okay. Yeah, thank God, right? for my seller, for my sweet seller, okay? So, you've got to have empathy, right? We're in a small business here. So here, I say you can email this report, or you can print the report. You see I have on the top here. I always like to print it, and I remember I always set it on the highest one, not per page. Just prints it out in a big long form, and then I take a ink pen and I start writing on it. Yes.
One of the things I mark on there is when we did a price reduction, so I can see how many showings have happened after the price reduction.
Yeah, draw a line.
Yes, well, that comes on the showing time report.
I know.
Because it
but I
sees,
can match it on here,
you
too.
can do it on here too, yeah. And it's really evident when you have a price reduction, you see more showings happening. Yeah, Gene?
How do you personalize getting your picture on the top
You-
report?
When you go to Supra, you can go to,
Settings, maybe?
yeah, I think right here, settings. Yeah, you can go to,
Okay.
I think there's a way to go in there.
Go to the home button.
Oh, that's the settings for the box, right? So you have to go to the home, and then, let's see here. Where's my little thing? Oh, this
Might
is-
be at your.
Maybe this settings. A Foland, there we go. Update login settings. Where
It's there.
Personalized email right there, maybe that's a general email. Could be.
Truster is there.
What is,
There somewhere.
it's here
To set it
somewhere.
up, yes.
It's up here
Click on your
somewhere.
name, Adrienne, see
Yeah, that makes
if it comes down.
I've done it so many times. I mean,
Yeah.
I did it long ago. Reports,
How about,
But they're
oh, there you go,
helpful too,
go
you
back,
can
go
always
back.
call.
go back.
Yeah, go back one screen, whatever, go back a screen. Where it says personalized email notifications, email
Right,
signatures.
yeah, general email,
Yeah, see what-
that must be it. Personalized
Signature and
email,
more.
Maybe they keep.
Email address.
Wow.
Feedback,
Edit
send me
things.
feedback.
There it is.
Yeah.
That was the highlight of the presentation.
Might as well do this while I'm in here. Is that right?
Did you spell it correctly?
Is it right?
Yeah.
Real
Real
estate.
estate, we changed the name
Real
to protect
estate,
the
thank
innocent.
Real estate. No need one L.
One L on real.
That's real.
Real,
That's real.
real. Thank you.
Real estate.
Save,
Okay.
right?
Let's see, let's see. Really good information.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay.
You're not.
Okay, let's see, how do I get that updated?
Save.
Save.
All right, so let's review now, the 5 reports. The market report, right? The market from the high level.
Yeah.
The List Hub report, which is the syndication of all the web exposure that you're getting. The hit counter report, which is the back-end MLS search data and how many searches your emails, your listing is included in, how many people have looked and opened up those searches, right?
Right.
4th one is the actual showing time. You see how I'm going more and more deep, granular, right? All about their listing. And then the showing time report to show the agents that have shown it, who's been in the house to see it, and feedback, okay? Then the last one is the actual shackle report, who entered the house, and the frequency of that. Was it brokers open? Was it, open house check, other agents showing, etc. Okay? Sometimes some agent will call you, they'll make a showing time request, but they don't have a they don't have a Supra, right? So you got to meet them there. So who shows up? You on the report. So in that case, I might write, open for agent so-and-so on the shackle report, just to kind of keep it in mind, okay? So you use this because the sellers are concerned, what's happening, what are you doing? You come with all this data. You come with showing all these tools. They know you're working behind the scenes, okay? You can do this like every month, every 45 days, whatever's working for you with your relationship with yourself. I
Do
hope
you
that.
send them all at once?
Yes, it's a package. I do a whole package.
And you can use this package when you're on a listing presentation and
Oh,
share with them,
gosh,
this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
This
you
is
can
the
do that.
information I'm gonna keep you informed with.
I mean, I kind of talk about that because I have one page that talks about List Hub and the syndication. I have, in my listing presentation, I have, then I show them about the emails with the shackle. Sometimes I even bring a shackle and show them how that works, that it's very secure. And then, of course, I always use the monthly market report. I always use this in my listing. And yes.
What would be fabulous to add to that, the new adverts.
Yes.
And I just started, with the listing, just 2 days in the market, and the numbers are astronomical when you show the showings and the listing.
Yes. For the first 7 days, we have AdWorks. And what I do is I save those emails because they're one day, and then it's cumulative. And like I have an older couple that's in like an assisted living, and they don't have any email. So what I did was I did a screenshot of each one of those to show where it says Fox News, CNN, Yahoo News, and every day. It's only for 7 days. Unless you extend it. So I will include that sometimes too. Yeah, good idea.
And for our $1 million plus listings, we have the Lux Analytic Report, which is an extraordinary report, shows what countries, what cities, what languages, what currency, and that is through Lux Exchange, and that is an extraordinary report that gets emailed and printed. So you would add that for your $1 million plus listings.
Yes.
I don't know how many of you really know the value of List Hub. When you go on listings, what's the question that the seller wants to know? Where are you going to market my property? Where is it going to show up, right?
Yes.
I can tell you that the majority of agents don't even know. They go Zillow and Realtor.com because that's the only thing that they know. But this report, List Hub, says everything. And not every agent has List Hub, guys. You have that at Balistreri.
We pay for it monthly.
We pay for it. Your other real estate agents out there, they don't have that. Plus, they don't even if they have it, they don't know what it does to them and how to use it. So 248, portals, etc. Use this. This is powerful.
Marketing has a one-pager that has a bunch of those little icons of all the websites, and I put that in my listing presentation.
So big hand for Adrienne, huh?
Very informative.
We're going to continue to bring these things to you from our people. Couple quick takeaways. What did you learn today? More specific?
Great reports that we can send and keep our listing.
Great reports we can send.
I like the hit counter.
Yeah, the hit counter.
good.
I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah.
The hit counter.
The hit counter and the idea of using that showing how the showings jump back up when you make a price cut. Because you can tell them, hey, a price cut's just like a new listing. When we reduce the price, it's gonna be like a new listing. And they go, oh, it's gonna just cost you money. So look, you wanna sell the house, right? Sell the house. But this way, it's like material proof. When we lower the price,
This is what happens.
this is what happens.
What else did you learn, Ruthie? Yes, Sherry?
I love the way you marked up your report.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can say it to them, but it doesn't stick, you know, at all. And I just love the way it just is so easy to read. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So she likes the way, we call that, it's called guerrilla marketing. It's called, when you scribble on things like that, they call that guerrilla marketing. So you take something that looks pretty and you mark it up. You mark it up. What else did you learn? Please?
That, you know, you can send the reports and they're not gonna look at them, but when you get on the telephone, even if they're out of state, you make an appointment on the phone and send it to them. And the value is, or meeting with them, is communicating, and that's when you can get that reduction and you get the buy-in from the seller. You're getting them to reinvest in their property because they can see really what's happening and what you're doing to help them.
Ruthie?
Yeah, I had an out-of-area seller who was pretty smart. And it took a long time to sell this condo because there were 5 million of them for sale in the community. And we were overpriced. So when I would use these reports, then I'd do a little summary of what's going on in the neighborhood because it was condensed. And he was very smart. I mean, he would come in and say, look, I know it's time. I mean, I'd put in there, maybe it's time to discuss an adjustment. And he would say, okay, fine, here, price adjustment. And it works.
Could I mention one other thing? You see that I had a lot of feedback on there.
Oh, yeah. The feedback is
Right.
And how do you give feedback? Well, first off, whenever you show somebody's property, give feedback, okay? You're gonna, if they've set it up properly, because I have in showing time set, I don't ask them all these different questions. I just
ask for feedback.
one little comment or whatever. And it always happens, you know, I tell the seller up front, listen, 98% of the time, you're not gonna get feedback. The buyers are in there and they're on, they're out. I says, I'm just gonna tell you, it's human nature. So what I do is I text the buyer's agent maybe a couple of hours after the showing, when I know they're gone, because I got the notification that they went in. So I just wait. And if I don't send an email feedback, which I've set up for like an hour later, then I just text them and say, any feedback on that house? Then they'll say, yeah, buyer thought bedroom was small. Then I copy that text message and I send it to my seller. Even if it's at 9 o'clock at night, the seller knows I'm showing them some love. I'm thinking about their house. I'm going the extra mile, okay? Then sometimes, you know, the showing time they're very persistent. I think they send like 4 emails.
Yeah,
okay?
for feedback.
Some of them, the agents are just like, I'm so sick of this, and they just hit it and say, I text you already, small bedrooms. Like, okay, great. So because then it shows up on there, or as we discussed, small bedrooms, you know? So every time you get a chance to give feedback, do it. Right? Professional courtesy, and then guess what? You'll start getting it back too.
I called an agent one time for feedback on a house that she was showing in my house point that I'd gotten her into in like seconds. And she was on her way practically. And I thought, well, I'll call and see what the feedback is. So we started chatting, you know, just by the way, what your buyer looking for, you know, this house was the one, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, well, he's driving around the city, looking at the houses that have signs on them. And, you know, he's got this budget, but he's looking at these houses. I said, well, what is his budget? And she said, well, you know, he really could do, you know, $1 million plus. I'm like, oh, well, I think I might have the house for you. It's coming back on the market tomorrow morning. He wanted to see it so bad because I was going to do an open house. They came in, whipped and wrote the offer, and they bought the house 2 weeks later.
Good for you, Ruthie. Great job.
So you follow up.
You're working your
Feedback
business.
is good.
Adrienne, how do the people, when you handle says, you know, we don't want a lockbox on our home, how do you handle that?
Well, I say, let me ask you something. When you go and you look at houses as a buyer, you usually just go with your agent, right? You want to be in the home. You want to be feeling it. They don't really want us there.
No.
They want to be able to feel it and talk about it and spend the time in there that they want when you're the buyer. So it's best if we let the buyer and the agent have access. And of course, we have a lot of security with our system. First, they have to make a request online on the showing time scheduler. Then I'm going to text you, and you're going to confirm yes or no that you can handle that showing. and you're gonna take the dogs and the kids and you're gonna get out. I had this one young couple, they had 2 babies and 2 cats, and we had 58 showings on their house. And it was, I had a sign writer, beautiful inside. The house was a mansard roof on the outside. It was the ugly duckling of the neighborhood. And, you know, and anyway, every feedback I'd get was, oh, I love that orange cat.
Take the cat away.
No, but anyway, they were great. But you know, what happens is sellers have what I call seller fatigue. They get tired, you know, keeping the house, making their bed every morning, keeping the house ready, this and that. But I mean, I explain it to them like how they would like to see a house.
Beautiful.
Then it works. And the fact that we have a lot of security and people aren't just gonna be popping by for a showing.
Right.
That because it's owner occupied, we make the appointment the day before and they have complete latitude to say yes or no to the showing request.
So a couple of things I heard set the expectation for the seller. See, we don't do a good job at setting the expectation. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, most agents are not going to give us feedback. It's just normal. We're going to do our absolute best. So explain the benefits and how buyers like to buy and why it's important. And the easier the showing, the less restrictive, the more open that people can be about the home, the higher the price, the more showings that we're going to get, and typically the higher the price. So explain the benefits. What's the value of a yard sign?
Tremendous.
Oh, absolutely.
What is it about a sign? What is it about a physical?
It's visual. People are very
Average
The first power of the yard sign is it's a declaration that this home, this is a declaration to the world, physical declaration to the world that this home is for sale and will be sold. And when the buyer falls in love with the house and they drive by it 27 times after they make the offer, have you ever done that? I have. How motivated, how badly does that buyer want that yard sign out of the front yard? Or wants a sold sign on it? So the yard sign becomes a negotiating tool. Because when the buyer falls in love with it, they want that sign to say sold with their name on it. So folks, there's a lot of power to these things. Well, the seller thinks the yard sign is for your benefit. The yard sign is for their benefit. It's first of all, there's something magical about a declaration. And the yard sign does that. Chris, we're going to have.
Well, I'm just thinking when Adrienne was talking about all this, and let's say I'm a seller, and you're coming with all this information. I mean, to me, I'm impressed because it's not like you're selling yourself. You're simply selling and sharing how exhaustive your research is. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be telling my next door neighbor, man, when you sell your house, you got to use who I'm using because what she did for me, and I think is invaluable. You know.
I think not everybody is analytical, but everybody values the analytics and the brain power and the explanation and the time that you've invested in sharing about their house.
I think that a lot of times, many times, they don't know how hard we're working behind the scenes. And I think that shows how hard you're working behind the scenes, and that you're on top of it.
Folks, what if at the last Friday or Saturday of every month, you put on your schedule to meet with your sellers? How powerful would that be?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Folks, first of all, there's something magical about something being tangible. So you've got to print it out, and then you've got to take it to them, and you have to sit with them and go over it with them. These are magical moments.
They're paying us big money. They're paying us money.
Also, I think along that line, I think, you know, I call my sellers every Friday. Even if especially when there's nothing going on. I mean, those are hard calls. We haven't had any showings this week. This is what we've done to sell the house. You know, it's been, you know, whatever. Sometimes it's because of the, you know, the time of the month or whatever, you know, we're within near Thanksgiving or something like that. Other times it's, look, we're just not getting enough action on the property.
But the thing is, starting out, you can show them the hit counter and say, we've had eyeballs, but no showings.
But no, and that's what I do. That's what that AdWorks thing can be powerful, because you go, look, we've got 3,400 clicks on this house, and we haven't gotten anybody. Nobody's called me. We've done, you know, but because you got to set them up for the price cut. You just can't come in out of nowhere and go, hey, we need to cut the price 20 grand. You know, I had a nasty conversation with this listing up in Palm Beach yesterday, and she's all been out of shape. But I said, We either get people in the building, or ain't gonna sell.
That's right.
Well, I'm not gonna go a dime lower. I said, well, that's your choice. I get that part. But if you want to sell it, I said, do you want to own this house on July 4th? Do you still want to be owning this house on July 4th? No, then we got to sell it. And we only sell if people get in the building. So we got to get them in. We got to get them in there, right? Well, yeah. Okay. Look, nobody's holding a gun to your head. You don't have to take an offer if you don't want it. But let's go to bed. At the worst, when this thing's all over, instead of wandering around and you're confused, you can go to bed saying, the best price I got was $285. I'm not selling for $285. So therefore, I'm not selling it. Then I know I'm not selling it. Okay, fine, Star, cut the price. You're always getting it. But it's the truth, though.
It's true.
Is it, look, how many times do doctors have to deliver bad news?
Yeah. And you're not doing a good job if you're not going to tell them the truth.
I mean, our superstar, Joanne Edwards, who knows Joanne?
Yeah, Joanne.
Yeah, well, Joanne had 2 legs until she was walking on the beach one day and got a clot in her one leg. And the doctor had to tell her, we have to take your leg off. Well, they did. And it's always painful for Joanne. But I mean, that's bad news.
She was still doing deals in the hospital.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
For Joanne, it was just a flesh wound, Mighty Python, merely a flesh wound. But my point is that Joanne had to get bad news and she had to do it. And she's a superstar. This woman, she's just amazing. We got a lot of amazing people in this country. So sometimes you got to give people the real news.
I'm going to give you one more comment, and you'll like this one. When I worked in corporate America, we had this saying, in God we trust, everybody else bring data.
We got to quit.
When you're showing property at Balistreri, when you're in somebody else's home, please be mindful. Tell the buyers before you get in there. Please don't talk inside one's home, because today we have cameras, they see you. And I don't want anybody to say that was a Balistreri agent, you, and that buyer and you were saying, oh, they'll take this price, or boy, that looks horrible. The comments need to be made in a car or at the office, okay? Keep the comments outside. The other thing is, we just had it happen to an agent here in Boca over the weekend. The person said to them, showing property, I want to know, is this a safe area? Guys, gals, nothing is safe. We can't say, nothing is safe. A studio and Yo studio, Tallahassee, God goes in and shoots people. Nothing is safe. Well, and she says to our agent, well, I can sue you because you don't tell me if it's safe. That's not true. But nothing is safe anymore. So don't say, you can't guarantee it.
Just to refer them to the police report.
Yeah.
Okay, last big round of applause for Adrienne. Tomorrow's Wonderful Wednesday. Thursday is Thoughtful Thursday, 8:30 at Lighthouse. Popeyes.
You mentioned Sheehan. Sheehan Cadillac.
Yes.
I bought a car from him.
Yes.
I could not believe his office when I went in. I was looking for the Hollywood.
Oh, yes, I'm
I was so impressed.
Yeah. He loves
Amazing
Florida.
man.
He is.
But I'll look at it. Something else might be a first
Very